Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Animal Talk with Back to Basics Dog Training. For those of you who don't know me, joining for the first time, I'm Leon. I'm from Back to Basics Dog Training. This is a bi-weekly show that I've come put together to talk about animals in general. This is not about dog training. Of course, we will answer any of those questions as well. But tonight, let's get right into it. I got a special guest. I got Michele Desanti. I hope I say your name right, Michele, from Remember Me Rescue New York. A little background on Michele. She started rescuing when she was very young. She tells me she's been doing it for 25 years. So I'm going to say she started at about 10 years old. Um, she started out just adopting a kitten or a cat for her mom. Um, Fell in love with the animals, started volunteering at a local shelter in California, I guess is where she was from, and started walking dogs and taking care of the animals, and eventually got hired and was running in Venice, the dog adoption for Venice Animal Allies. Um, she made the decision to move to New York and started Remember Me Rescue New York for a couple of years ago. Michele and I have worked together quite often. And with that being said, I'm going to bring Michele in. Michele, say hi to everybody. Everybody give a shout out to Michele in the comments. And welcome, Michele.
Hi, how you doing?
Um, so that was my brief introduction. So, like I said, Michele and I have worked together for quite a few years now. Back when I was living up on Long Island, and I still help out as best as I can from down here for her.
Yep.
Um,
I still send you some of my adopters
yep,
who need help.
and a lot of them do. So,
Yes.
just so you know, Michelle's a foster-based rescue. We don't
Yes.
have this grand facility or ranch or property that you can put all these animals. Because if it was up to you, you'd save every freaking animal on the face of the earth.
Yep.
Um, so you do based on foster, which is always in dire need of fosters. But from the trainer's point of view, you and I've had this conversation many times. Fosters is more than just, oh, I'm doing a good job. I'm going to foster. Fosters have to help you succeed, right?
Yes. Yeah. It is. I mean, it is a job. It really is a job. But I don't think some people don't look at it like it's a job. It's a nice thing to do, but these dogs come from the shelter and they were failed and they need some work. You know.
Right. So, the way I always describe it to people, and guys, as you hear, put your comments in. Let us know you're watching. You know, give a shout out. Let me know where you're watching from. Say hi to Michele. Um, I always say that the fosters, they're the main thing for a foster, in my opinion, is to help these dogs or get these dogs prepared to succeed in the next phase of their lives, which means it's more than just. I'm going to change this chat around a little bit because I want to make sure we're getting it. Michelle, Maribel says, and we'll put this comment up here. Bam! Michele is awesome. She left my family, my Cali. Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. Um, the fosters have to help the dog succeed, not just give them a place to live. Start teaching them structure. I know at the behest or bequest of then we got from Cindy. We got a hi Michele. Um, so I put a video out on my YouTube channel how to properly introduce a dog to your home, and hopefully not have it bark when we're doing this.
Molly.
Um, it's okay. Barking is part of our job. Um, And I do see the video get some usage. Do you recommend it to people, to the fosters or to the new adopters? Tell us
I,
your process. Tell us what you do.
I do. I tell them to look. I also tell them to go. Watch you, and if you have any questions. But we do. I tell them to look at your video, and we just started a page because we want to. I have some trainers in Albany where I have my husky, and they're big. They said the big thing is there just aren't many qualified fosters, and they want to start a network where they're able to train the people properly so they can take on different dogs. I mean, right now I have a hard time. It's like impossible to find anybody to foster big dogs. I could have find some fosters to do small senior dogs, but it's really the big dogs that are in dire need too. And I just don't have anybody to take them. And I get so many requests. Like today, I told you I got a German Shepherd. Somebody needs help with a Rottweiler. I mean, I don't have the fosters, and I don't have a facility. So, and also we're a small rescue, and it takes funds. Funds to train, funds to vet. It's not easy.
Right. So basically, all people, just people out there watching from wherever you're watching from, I've been around dogs my whole entire life. I've worked with different rescues, not only Michelle, I've worked with other rescue groups. Um, Rescues aren't independently wealthy, people. I mean, if anybody remembers, and I think we lost Michelle somehow here, um, but I'm going to continue talking. Hopefully, I'll see her rejoin us. Um, there she is. We'll put her back on camera. There she is. Can you hear us?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So people try to call, and then I get kicked
Oh.
off.
Um, so, you know, the original concept of this show that we're doing tonight was Tuesday night animal talk with Back to Basics dog training. That's how it was originally conceived. But so I reached out to Michelle, and unfortunately, because Michelle's not independently wealthy and can't take care of all these animals, she has to work a real job. And Tuesday night she happens to work. So we said, okay, well, let's just make an animal talk with Back to Basics dog training, and it'll be whatever night people that want to join me on this platform can join us. So you're not independently wealthy. The money has to come from somebody.
Mhm.
Um,
It's all,
I
I have to fundraise for every dog. I mean, it's like I work at a restaurant, and I have to pay for my own 5 dogs, and it's every dog you have to fundraise for. It doesn't, I'm not wealthy. I don't get grants. The other problem is the small rescue groups like mine
mhm.
who do a lot. We don't get grants. It's like the big ones who they want to see that you have a bank account, and then you
Right.
get a great grant. When you don't have any money in the bank, they don't think you're going to be around long. So why give you a grant? You know?
Right. So they don't, the grant committees or whatever don't care that you've been established as a 501c3
See? No,
C3
yeah, yeah.
for X amount of years.
No, no. It's like, they only really, they give to the large rescues with the names out there. The
Right.
ones who can actually pay for social media for, media campaigns. Those are the ones who get the rescue, the grants,
Because
you
I,
know.
I I remember one time you went for a grant because you do a lot with senior dogs, where a
Yeah.
lot of rescue groups don't want to do that because they're not quick turnarounds. And this isn't knocking anybody. This is just reality, guys. As everybody knows, I'm
Mhm.
very transparent on what I say and do. Um, so you do take a lot of senior dogs. I
Yeah,
mean,
75% of the dogs we take are probably seniors.
right. Most of those dogs, I've seen a lot of them, aren't coming in the best health.
Yeah.
The smaller dogs, they're not groomed. Their nails, their hair, they're matted, they're disgusting.
They're not neutered. They have bad teeth.
Right,
They have bad heart because you don't take care of your teeth. You don't take care of their heart. They nobody they were neglected, and
right.
then they were thrown away.
And you try to get a grant for senior dogs and were denied again because you're not a multimillionaire to begin with. So the bank account is paying, especially living on Long Island. Your paycheck is week to week, and you're
Mhm.
living that paycheck to paycheck and saying, "Oh crap, I can't buy milk. I have to take care of Roxy." You know,
Yeah. I mean,
um,
I work in a restaurant, and then people get angry because they're like, "Well, why? You're a rescue. You should be able to help." It's like, there's
you
only
have
so much
bills
you
to
can
pay.
do.
You have
Yeah.
bills to pay. Um, and I know vet care is not cheap. I know you know a lot of vets out there. Some of them definitely work with you. Thumbs
Hmm.
up to them.
Hmm.
We just talked about it. One of the dogs, I think it's one of your dogs, the
Well,
Min Pin.
what happened was they reached out to Gary because they had a 9-month old or 8 or 9-month-old dachshund, and they didn't know how, but it broke its femur. And I mean, I don't know. They must have spent like $3,000 to buy the dog, but they couldn't afford vet care. And they told Gary if they couldn't get the money, they would euthanize him. So Gary said they would pay. He would pay. And then they decided that couldn't do aftercare. Now I'm guessing because they have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I don't know why you would get a doxie because they're so delicate. That one of the kids may have just fallen on the dog and broke
Or it
its
could have
leg.
just jumped off the couch or whatever.
Yeah, this and so yeah, so they relinquished him to me.
Okay. And I'm going to
Doc,
say the name, Dr.
Dr.
Infuse,
Infernuso, Dr.
right?
Infernuso at East Meadow. He's amazing. He works with the rescues because he knows we're not made of money, and he gives us a big discount. and but he did, he did the dog surgery for free, which was amazing. I mean,
Right.
I mean, no vet usually gives us anything for free. I'm
Right.
lucky. I'm lucky if I get a nail trimming for free. You know.
So, and this is the plight. Like in the caption or the whatever it is that's in the social media world that I put about it, it's not just the fun and the glory about adopting a dog and getting dogs good homes. There's a lot that goes into it. It's a lot of blood, sweat, tears. It's a whole process. I lost Michelle again. That the rescues go through. She's back, but it's a black screen. So I'm going to wait till I see a picture before I put her back up here. Um, it's a lot that goes into rescuing. It's not just the great job, pat on the back. We got a dog, a home. You know, like I said, Michelle's a foster based rescue. So she's relying on other people to help her out. And one of the things I've talked to a lot of her fosters, Michelle, if you can, I I don't know if you can hear me, but
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't see you.
Okay, I can see myself on here now. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. I got a black screen, but we're going to leave this up
That's
just
fine.
because we can hear you. Um, it's a foster base, and I've talked to a lot. I've worked with a lot of your fosters in the past, trying to help them get the dog set up for success. And I lost her again. You got to put your phone on do not. You got to put your phone on do not disturb. I think while we're trying to do this. So you know, and I'm going to use the story of Duke, and I'm going to have Michelle start the story of Duke now, Luke, to show with a little bit of effort. Now we see you. Um, now we lost you again. Um, so once Michelle gets back, and hopefully she puts her phone on do not disturb, we'll get her to tell you the story of Duke slash Luke. Um, it does have that happy ending, but it had a real possibility not to have a happy ending. Um, a lot of people, a lot of volunteers have worked with Duke, now Luke. And again, I don't know what happened to Michelle. So um, I'm going to talk about what I'm more familiar with until we get Michelle back here, which is how people that are viewing us now, any of the fosters out there, or people thinking about fostering people, but thinking about adopting a dog. Um, all dogs, like people, when they come into a new environment, need to decompress. And as the trainer in me, I always say, one of the biggest mistakes we make when we adopt a new dog or bring a new dog into our homes is the first thing we do is try to smother them with love and affection. We think about their past. We worry about their past. Oh my God, the dog was running the streets in Brooklyn or the Bronx or upstate New York or wherever, um, and the dog was running the streets and not so we worry about it. Oh my God, you poor baby. Look at, we can't live like that, guys. That's not fair to the dog. What happened with the dog in the past is
Oh,
the
I'm back.
dog, you're back, still no picture, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm back.
Um, so we got Amelia that says, Michelle is wonderful and really cares for her rescue. I am lucky to have been approved to adopt two of her dogs. Well, thank you for adopting the dogs, and we lost Michelle again. But we're going to keep trying. We're going to plug through this, guys. Thank you for joining us, Amelia, and I hope I said your name right. I am horrible at names here. Um, so, uh, Michelle's back again.
I'm having internet trouble now.
Oh, okay. I know you guys are having some bad storms up there, right?
Well, yeah, Huntington, we have like the worst internet service in the world. I think it's like a
Oh.
black hole.
So I started going off on a tangent about, when fosters or people adopt dogs, one, stop living in the past. Whatever happened to the dog yesterday happened. We can't fix it. So don't
Yeah,
dwell on it. Don't feel bad for the dog. Think about what we're giving them today.
yeah,
You know, the big houses we're giving them, the yards to play in. That's even better than saying, "Oh, you poor baby," because that's such a weak energy. Dogs don't like weak energy. Anybody who follows me knows I talk about energy all the time. So I started to try to get into the story of Duke slash Luke. So I want you to tell the backstory of, how you got involved with Duke, how I got involved with Duke, and to show how people easily give up on dogs, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah. So,
So
so yeah.
I'm
So
going to
one,
turn it over.
so one of my adopters called me and she told me about Duke. And she's like, I think, he was at Hempstead Shelter, and he was returned a couple of times. And I think he was in danger of, I don't know, he was in danger there. So I spoke to you about making, an appointment and going to meet him. But yeah, I've got such a horrible, I mean, he got all these mixed reviews. Some people are like, oh my God, he's a dangerous dog. Don't be stupid. Don't take that dog. You're going to risk your liability. You know, he's crazy. And then people are like, oh my God, he's the best dog in the world. He just needs a chance. So then we met him, and he was, I mean, he was a good boy.
Yeah,
He just needed, structure. He hadn't had structure probably ever.
right. He was about what, a year and a half, I think.
He was a couple of years old. No, he was there for 2.5 years. So he was
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
he was
So
about 3 years old probably when we met him.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he was returned several times, and it was because like when he was on the sofa and people tried to get him off, he would go after them. He never broke the skin.
Right,
He bit them, but it was never like, oh, I had to go. People act like he mauled him. I mean, I'm sorry, unless you get stitches, it's not a bite. You
right.
know.
And I agree 1,000,000%. I mean, dogs do give warnings. People just choose not to listen to them.
Mhm.
So again, this is part of that decompression period that I started talking about when you were going in and out on me. The dogs, and you know it as well as I do. And it's dogs, humans. Whenever you go into a new environment, you have to decompress. You're
Yeah,
not going to
nobody
see.
and nobody wants to give nobody people don't understand. They think like after a day, they should be okay, they should they're fine.
Right. So I remember when when I had Duke, which was about a little over a year ago now. So Michelle pulled Duke, and I offered to do I think it was an 8 or 10 week board and train program with Duke.
Yeah.
And I was posting every single day what I was doing, but of course the naysayers out there
Oh yeah,
were
yeah.
trashing me left and right. And what they didn't understand is I wasn't training Duke the first 2 weeks I had Duke. I was trying to get to know Duke so Duke can get to know me, and I was doing things just to see where his triggers were. And one of the things I learned right away from him, and he told me, is when he's tired, leave him the hell alone.
Yeah.
Well, guess what, guys? When I'm tired, leave me the hell alone.
Hmm.
You know, and we worked through his issues, and by taking the time and actually listening to what this dog was saying without a verbal communication, because I can't talk, to a dog. I do talk to dogs, but just his look. He gave this what I think I told you, Michelle, that death look when he got up on the furniture when I didn't want him up there.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Don't come close to me." So I respected what he was telling me, but he still had to respect me to get the hell off the chair.
Yeah.
And I just waited him out. Never said a word to him, just told him off. That was it. And waited him out. And eventually when he got off the furniture, the best thing is he actually was like, "Did I do good? Did I do good?" And he was so happy because
He didn't get yelled at.
he didn't get yelled at. He didn't get ranked by his collar to get off the chair.
Hmm.
It was not. And I gave him a chance to express his feelings,
Hmm.
understood his feelings for a lack of better terms, and worked with him to make him make a better decision. And that's what the foster people in your environment or the people that adopt dogs have to understand is they have to give
Yeah.
time to these dogs so they can understand how we're communicating together. The verbal communication, men with their testosterone think, "Oh, get off the couch." That's not
Yeah.
going to work. It's a bunch of bull crap. And you women are no better with your estrogen. Oh my God, the poor baby. That's
Yeah.
not going to help either. It's really taking the time. What is the dog telling you?
Yeah.
And
Listen.
listen to what they're telling you. And it's not going to be a verbal. Growling doesn't mean aggression. A dog
Growling's a
putting
good
his
thing. Growling's
right.
a good thing. Don't ever.
Don't-
Somebody said they wanted to train the growl out of the dog. I'm like, don't be crazy.
Right. Don't be crazy. It's communication. That's all it is.
Yeah.
A dog putting his mouth on somebody isn't aggressive.
Yeah.
That's how they communicate to each other. You
Yep.
brought them into your world. Learn to speak dog, for a lack
Hmm.
of better terms.
But
Um,
and I always say this, people expect more from dogs than they do from their own spouse. Like they
oh,
expect
absolutely.
they expect their dogs to be better behaved and to, not to get angry, not to get upset, just take, take, take. I mean, they don't respect what their dogs are saying. They don't
Right.
listen. They don't, I guess, you have to listen to, the dog's body language. Dogs watch our body language. They
Mhm.
they can read our body language so amazingly. but we just need to listen. And one of the things that really it's crazy is that when I look at the ACC, when I get these emails from them, it said the previous owner says that the dog tries to bite when they put their hand in his food bowl.
Why are you putting your hand in the food
I,
bowl?
I mean, I don't. It's like that's crazy,
Hmm.
and it's just common sense. I mean, you don't
Right.
like when your food's touched. Don't touch it. I mean, what do you
Right.
what are you trying to prove? That you
Right.
have total control of your pet, so you have to touch his food?
Right. One of the things I tell people, I've raised my own dogs. I think I have. You've met a couple of my dogs. My dogs are usually pretty good. I have never put my hand in my dog's food bowl. All I want my dog to do when they're eating is to, if I walk by, or if I'm standing there, continue eating. Don't worry about me. I'm not a threat to take your food. People got to realize dogs are wild animals. Food is a primitive form of survival.
Yeah,
Don't mess with the animal's food. You wouldn't go to a lion cage and put your hand in their food bowl.
yeah.
And they're the same thing. They're wild animals by nature. Food they're going to, that could be the number one. I mean, to me, it's one of the number one reasons people get bit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
something simple as that. Yeah, and
Right.
also like you were saying, tugging at the collar when you just get a
Hmm.
dog. I mean, that happened with the people who were fostering the husky for me.
Hmm.
She didn't want to go outside to potty, so they pulled her by the collar and she bit them. I mean, she
Hmm.
didn't know. I don't know you. Why are you grabbing me?
Right. And one of the things I did, like with Duke, is I just took the time. I had three-quarters of it, and Michelle, you saw the property I had up north.
Hmm.
I had a big piece of property fenced in, and actually, what, 2 days before I was getting Duke, I built a 32 by 32 dog run for him
Yeah,
because he had to earn the privilege to go into the full yard.
yeah,
I make the dogs earn the privileges I give them. First 2 weeks he was in my basement. Him and I were the only two really bonding, and my daughter, of course. But he came. The interaction we had was all about structure, not about. Well, the poor baby was in the shelter for 2.5 years. I didn't care at that point because you know what? My goal was he'll never be in a shelter again,
yeah.
and he's not. He's living a great life, from what I hear.
Oh yeah. I mean, they ended up being, and they saw him on channel. I did. Was it channel 12? We
Channel
did
12,
was it a good day? Good day. No, what was I was going to say good day, LA.
Dog Day.
Dog day. Yeah, dog day. Yeah, Friday.
I don't remember him being on there, but okay. um,
No, we did. What it was is because of the pandemic. I think wasn't it?
oh,
Didn't we
yeah,
do? We just sent the videos in, and
right,
then people
right,
saw them.
right. And he's doing phenomenal. And the best thing about him is his favorite reward was affection and his tug toy.
And the thing is, the man works with him every day.
Right.
You
And
know.
he's a working type of breed dog. Working breed dogs, like you said something about a German Shepherd earlier. Those
Hmm.
dogs need jobs.
Yeah.
And one of the hardest things I think you have is trying to match the right dog for the right person,
Yeah.
especially because you got to filter through the BS that the humans give you.
Yeah.
Um,
It was like the people who wanted Cody. She was hell bent on, she was hell bent on getting Cody, the 120-pound dog, and her last dog was a Pomeranian. And so, okay, she sounded great on paper. She just put a fence up for him. And what, after a couple of days, because, he would, her son would run and he would chase him, she thought, he was going to kill him.
right.
So then we take him back and she buys a Pomeranian. Uh, I think number one, people they have to realize you have to research the breeds. You can't, not everybody should have an Aussie. Not everybody should have a Shepherd. They need more work. Some dogs need more exercise. They need more stimulation. You know,
Hmm.
but
People get these breeds based on look.
yeah,
Uh,
the palm ski is a big thing. It's like crazy.
Um, First of all, Maria, thank you. Hello and welcome. And I got Cindy says, I think I'm going to put this comment up there because it's a pretty big one. And I think people make dogs become who they are. People who adopt them and decide they don't want the pup and put them back in rescue bar breaks them. I have four rescues, and it took over a month till each one started decompressing and learning about their new environment. Absolutely, great comment. Thank
Hmm.
you, Cindy, for the input. Um, that's a great comment.
Yeah. Well, number one thing is I think people think it's all the shelters. It's the shelters are the ones who ruin the dogs, who kill the dogs. It's the owners who don't
Mhm.
socialize, who don't train, who don't vet. They're the ones who ruin the dogs. And then they send them to the shelters who don't have the, resources. They don't have the trainers. They don't, and then they get killed.
Right.
It all starts with the adopter or the buyer. I think, breeders have to be more conscientious about who they sell to. If they're supposedly good breeders breed because they love the breed. Well, make sure the dog is going to a home that, you know, is the right fit.
Right. Oh, that was a nice little. See, that growl somebody would interpret as owners 100%. Yeah, as a trainer, I always say I don't train dogs, I train humans. I think Michelle learned, I'm not going to say you learned a lot from me.
I'm the worst trainer in the world. We all know
Oh,
that.
you suck.
I suck.
Um,
Dogs hump me because they know they can.
right. But some of the dogs, and I'm going to give the example, we'll use Sandor because Sandor was a basket case. He was a
Yeah.
Jack Russell terrorist, if I'm not mistaken.
He was. They got him from North Shore Animal League. I mean, and he got hit by a car as a puppy. I guess the guy got divorced, got remarried. The girl wanted a therapy dog, and he wasn't a therapy dog. And then they got another dog, and he was going after that dog. Um, so then I think they put him on Craigslist. I think that's how I tried to help them, and and the sad thing was, here I am helping them rehome the dog, and they go to the pet store, they go to Selmer's, and they buy a mini Aussie for her therapy dog.
Not my first choice.
But after you're getting rid of one poor, and he's a great dog. He was just so he
Misunderstood.
misunderstood. They just didn't. He had no. I don't know. He was just completely misunderstood, and just what a great dog he really is. He just
One of
wanted to
the
be loved, and he just wanted to feel
and he's
safe.
and again he's doing great, and he did have some unwanted. I never use the word bad behaviors because they're just unwanted because people
Yeah,
don't teach the dogs the right thing. But he did have some unwanted behaviors in the house that he now is his forever home.
yeah,
And I went there and I worked with the gentleman, and I just explained to him how to work with Sandor because Sandor is different than Duke. Duke is different than Cody.
yeah,
And that's what people don't understand. I love that. And I'm sure you hear more than I do. Oh, can you get me a yellow lab? I had yellow labs growing up, and they're the best dog, and they're the calmest dog, and blah blah blah. Yeah, breed doesn't make the dog, people.
no, and you could ruin any dog. You could
Right.
ruin any dog.
But one of the things I want to touch on, you had mentioned earlier, is that people expect more from the dogs than they do from their kids or their spouses.
Hmm.
And I agree 1,000,000% with that. And one of the things I've told people in my sessions is as a child, when we're learning, humans, to spell the word dog, D-O-G, we write it 100 times till we know that it's D-O-G. In my experience, and you're talking roughly 40 years of training, my opinion is most people expect their dogs to get the word sit 5 times. And then if they don't do it, then the dog's stupid and in trouble and they start disciplining the dog.
Yep, yep.
And each dog is an individual. Each dog learns at a different pace. I had brothers, I have a brother and a sister, and we all learned at different paces.
Of course, of
You
course.
know, so people have to understand. You may get that dog you had growing up, that yellow lab, old yellow, yay, but old yellow is one of the slower ones, and it
Yeah,
may take you a little bit longer. Don't give up on the dog.
find a different way of teaching them. It's
Right,
like having a kid, with a disability. You have to
right,
find the right way to teach them.
right. And I put up here earlier, and Michelle, you can let me know if you agree with this. That boom, energy is the most important communication we have with our dogs.
Hmm.
If you're anxious, if you're frightful, or you're angry or frustrated, as back to basics, I have that trademark saying, "No anger, no frustration, but no nonsense," and I mean that. Um, One of the enforcers I know I worked with, and I'm not going to mention names here. I even walked out of the house and I told you I wouldn't put any more dogs here just because of the energy I felt in the house.
Yeah, yeah,
The dogs are going to pick that up very quickly.
yeah.
Um,
They do.
Ellen, how you, Ellen? How's things down in sunny Florida? We learned too. That's how we how you got Missy because you were a great family. Ellen, this person Ellen Burke that just came on. I've known her since, believe it or not, I was a little guy. Uh, Our families have known each other. I'm going to say, whew, close to 50 years, probably. And we did get a dog from her family, this little poodle mix Missy, who never she didn't understand she was a dog. Um, but that's my mother's fault. But you learn from each individual dog, and if you don't take something from a dog that you owned, you're missing something. Yeah, you met my sister when you were 8, and you're older than me, so I'm not going to go there. Um, so you know, these things make a difference if you take the time to learn. First of all, don't expect your dog to follow all your rules from day one. They
Do your
need
kid? Do
time.
your kids? Your kids don't follow your rules from
No,
day
that's why
one.
we have them till they're 21 because we're constantly teaching
Yeah.
our kids how to survive in life without us,
Mhm.
hopefully. And that's the same thing we do with our dogs. Now, granted, I'm going to use my Zoe as the example. Michelle, you've met Zoe. Zoe is
Yeah.
an exceptional dog, but I
Yeah.
worked my ass off to
Yeah.
get her to this point. But I started her training, guys, day one.
Yeah.
She was 8 weeks old when I got her home. She started training at 8 weeks old. There's no deviation for me. And then we had the parvo scare, so I lost 2 weeks of training. Then we started training again. Um, and you what I noticed working with the people that you've worked with and the people that you've adopted dogs with is they give up too damn quick.
People give up too quickly. Yeah.
I mean,
They
one
look.
week,
They promise you the world,
right,
and then there's one mistake, and sayonara.
right. And I do believe, and I know there's going to be a lot of people out there in the internet world who don't agree with me. If I fostered or brought a dog into my house, every single dog, including Duke, would be in a crate day one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not running all over my house, jumping on my furniture, doing all this stuff because it's giving them too much freedom, and you have to set those clear rules. And that's why I put that video out there, and I'll put the video in the comments below after this thing uploads to YouTube because it takes forever to upload
Yeah.
to YouTube. I'll put the comment in the comments. I'll put a link to that video, and I'll put it on the
Yeah.
Facebook pages that this is being shared to as well. Um,
But don't you kind of think? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel that way maybe about the hard. I mean, a lot of dogs I get at like 13 years old. You know, they're
but
not running around the house. I mean, maybe like I don't know. Yeah.
yeah, but they still need, 13 years old or not, they still need rules.
Yeah. No, I know they still need rules, but I don't
Maybe
know.
not the crate, but you keep them
Yeah.
on a leash more often. The
Yeah.
leash should be your best friend. I tell
Yeah.
people all the time, tether the dog to you. If you're
Yeah.
out of it, have the. But if
That's a
you
good way to
leave,
bond. Yeah.
right, it's a good way to bond. It's also a good way to face reality. They don't get in trouble if they're in your sight.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and you get to learn a lot of their behaviors. When they need to go out. You got to remember these dogs. You know,
Who
don't
knows
know
if the
this.
Who knows if
I'm
the
a,
house broken?
Right. I'm working with a dog, or been working with a dog down here that was close to as feral dog as possible. It was a bait dog for a year and a half, or whatever it was. So basically, it was a feral dog as far as I was concerned, and didn't understand the concept. Oh, I'm supposed to go outside to pee and poop.
Hmm.
And the people had taken the time. They did the tethering. They learned the dog's body language to know when the dog needed to go out. And
Yeah.
now this dog who couldn't. It took me, Michelle. It took me an hour and 15 minutes to put a leash on this dog
Aw.
because the dog didn't understand the concept. And I'm sure when they finally got it, animal control doing the best they can with their freaking lasso thing or whatever that thing's called that they with the 10-foot pole
Oh
and they
yeah.
cinch
Yeah.
it up. Probably didn't help the matter, but they had to get the dog, and I understand that. I'm not going to disparage what
But it
they
does
did.
traumatize them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it would traumatize me.
Yeah.
But now the dog, I drove by their where they live, and the dog is walking like a gentleman.
Yeah.
And you're only talking 3 weeks out of this environment. So dogs move forward faster than humans. And that's
Yeah.
what I think the people who rescue and foster need to understand. You got to give them time, but if you take the role of being their leaders and set those rules, same way you hopefully set the rules with your kids, they will follow.
Yeah. They
And
want
you've
a
seen it,
leader. They want a
right?
leader.
And you've seen that with some of the ones. Again, I'm not talking about back to basics that I've worked with, that I've done Zoom sessions with, because this isn't rocket science, guys. It's understanding the dog and letting it decompress. You know, and Michelle, go into the decompression process because I know there's so many different versions. You Google decompression of a dog
Yeah.
on Google, you'll get 27,000 different responses on how long it takes.
Yeah, I mean, dogs. Yeah, I know. Every dog is different. They say 2 weeks. It depends. And dogs do different things to, relieve their stress. Some of them chew, some of them pee, some of them cry. They have different things that they do, and it's stress. It's a stress reliever. Like people like, oh my God, the dog keeps licking or the dog keeps humping. That's a number. People like, oh my God, what's wrong with him? All he does is hump. He's only been there 3 days. He's just he's overstimulated. He's anxious. I mean, he needs to decompress, and then what? It stops. Once he's feels comfortable. It's a self-soothing action, and they need to decompress. They need my friend got a chow from down south who would when she got her, she was going after her daughter, and she's like, oh my God, I think I have to give her back. And I'm like, listen, she lived in a crate in down south. She was transported to the Hamptons and thrown into a home. It's course, give her time, and she did. She started crating her, and it took her a couple of months, and she started, then she felt like she was part of the family, and then she started, working with her, walking her, and they really bonded.
Right. And again, that's what people, yes, it's good to know about a dog's past. I don't live in the dog's past. If I lived in, and I'm going to use Duke's example, felt bad for Duke because he was in the Hempstead shelter for a year and a half or whatever it was, 2.5 years. I never would have moved him forward.
Yeah,
And literally what I did is to think about it. I mean, the Hempstead shelter, I think, has a 10 by 10 foot inside dog area for the dogs
yeah.
at night. And then they have a dog run going right out their area. Or no, they don't even have a dog run. They just have the
I,
10 by 10
I
foot
think
area.
I don't think they I think they just have a yeah I don't think they have an indoor outdoor run. It's just
Right.
like they had that area. The crate. I mean just a big run. Yeah, but not
Right.
a
Big inside run.
yeah
So
inside.
when Duke first came to my house, well, I'm not giving him that freedom. I put him in a dog crate.
Yeah,
And he wasn't happy about it, guys. Let's face it. He had a little bit more space in the 10-foot dog run at the Hempstead shelter than he did in the 42-inch crate or whatever the hell it was that I had. But I didn't force him into the crate. We worked together, so he went into the crate, and he
yeah,
enjoyed this crate. To the point is, I don't know if he's still doing it now that he's Luke, but at my house, he put himself to bed in his crate at 8:30 every single
yeah.
night.
Well,
Uh,
and also the husky that I have, the people,
mhm.
the trainer up in Albany, they said the number one thing you have to do is to crate train this dog. And the original family said there was no way she was getting in a crate. She just wouldn't. She just flipped out every time she got in the crate. And they worked with her, and they said after a couple of days, she was, she fussed a little bit. She would howl, and
Typical
that,
husky.
but she likes her crate now.
Right.
She feels safe.
That feral dog I'm working with down here, Toby, didn't like his crate. That was lesson number two. Is we did crate training. And, guys, with crates and certain things that I know I'm stressing out the dog, they're getting good food too, so it's worth it to them. So
Yeah,
I make it worth their while to go into it. You can do it, but if you drag your dog and force them into the crate, they're not going to like the crate, and good luck because you're probably going to get bit.
yeah,
And that's, again, I've worked with enough people who've rescued dogs. They try to force the dogs into the crate. They try to force
yeah,
the dogs to do things. I don't force a dog to do things. I don't know about you, Michelle.
yeah,
I don't. I help them make better
yeah,
decisions.
yeah. Don't
You know,
rush it. You can't rush it.
right. Like I said, guys, it took me an hour and a half to put a leash on the dog. It has never taken me an hour and a half to put, or hour and 15 minutes, excuse me, to put a leash on the dog. Never in my life. It blew my mind that it took me this long. But that's okay because that's the pace that Toby needed me to work at.
Hmm.
And I took the time to do it. I didn't lose my patience. I live what I talk about. No anger, no frustration. I didn't get frustrated with him because he didn't put the leash on the way I wanted him to.
Yeah,
I worked with him till now he looks for his leash. He enjoys his leash. If I would have, I could have got it on him in less than a minute. But then these people will never be able to walk their dog. Oh, they don't have a fenced in yard. They have to walk their dog.
yeah,
So, a lot of things Michelle talks about, and I've seen her posts on Facebook. Anybody who follows her, she's got a lot of freaking followers on Facebook. Um,
people who don't like me.
and you know what? They're not going to like because you say what you're like me. You're very blunt and to the point. Um, but she tells you what she's looking for in these dogs. I mean, I originally put up for Duke, and this was one of the things I got my ass kicked all over the internet. No other dogs, and
Yeah.
that was because that was my gut feeling at that point, because he didn't know how to control his excitement, and if he ran across the wrong dog, it was
He
going
would
to be
get
a
hurt.
problem.
And it wasn't
So
him who was going to do the aggressor, it was the other dog.
right, because he had such high energy. But then towards the seventh, eighth, ninth week, whatever it was, when I started realizing I could control his excitement and he was able to self control his excitement, Michelle, he can go with low
Yeah.
energy dogs.
Yep. And he's with another dog.
And
Yeah.
he's with it and he's doing great. But
Yeah.
my initial gut was no other dogs. And people were like, oh my God, he was the ambassador at the Hempstead. That's great.
Yeah.
And the people at the Hempstead shelter, between Bonnie and some of the other, and I don't remember all their names, did wonders for him.
Yeah.
But again, I say, Michelle, this goes into the foster, the people that volunteer at shelters, and you did volunteer according to the bio here at a
Hmm.
shelter, I understand what you guys are doing. But you want to help these dogs, you truly want to help these dogs, it's not all about play dates. It's set the structure in the shelter. You
Yeah.
can do this. Same way
Yeah.
the fosters can do this. What is the best way to handle food aggressive with a 4 month old puppy?
Hand feed.
Hand feed is the right answer. Um, Beth, I don't know which Facebook page you're on, if you're on mine or if you're on Michelle's, but I will answer those separately, the training questions, after the live chat's over, because this is more about trying to get to the rescue. But a dog like that, I'm going to actually talk about it. Screw what I just said. Um, Michelle is here we go. They love you, Michelle.
Oh.
Michelle is the best. She tells it like it is. If you're lucky enough to adopt one of her dogs, you'll know exactly what kind of dog you're getting. And that's the God's honest truth. And I'd rather somebody tell me the type of dog I'm going to get and give me the warnings. And if she doesn't give you a dog, there's a reason she's not giving you a dog.
No, and
Uh,
I don't lie. I mean, I told this one woman, she insisted, it was one of my friends, she insisted on this one dog for her mother. And I said, listen, I said, he was abused. He's going to bite your mother. She's like, no, no, no. We're experienced. We know. I don't. And what happened? He didn't bite the mother, but he bit her, and he came
mhm.
back the same day. It's like I told her, but she insisted she knew more than I did.
Right. Well, it's like when we had Duke. There was a gentleman. We're not going to mention names here, who insisted he should. Maria says I have Coco.
Oh yeah, my Coco. She actually Marie was the one who told us about Duke.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Marie, because we did great. Duke's happy ending was there.
Yeah.
But there was a gentleman who wanted us to let him adopt Duke,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had a lot of conversations with him. I know you had and a lot of the volunteers knew him,
Mm-hmm.
and the decision was made not to let Duke go to him,
No, he thought he was he thought he was a trainer.
to the
Anybody can
point
say they're a
where,
trainer.
right, to the
He
point
was.
where he was threatening to sue you, me, and the whole
Yeah.
world.
And that's dangerous. People like that are dangerous. They're not helping the dogs. They're dangerous.
Right.
You
And that's
know?
why I keep saying with especially with the Forsters, I love what Forsters do. I would never knock it. I mean, I know you got the Forsters that you
Yeah.
use are a great team, but I've also worked with them, and they have to remember their job is to move these dogs forward to get them to the next phase of their
Yeah.
life with a quicker
Yeah.
transition, so we don't get dogs being returned to
Yeah.
us. That's what I need the shelter volunteers to understand. When you walk these dogs, do the structured walk that I set up. Amelia says she has Kingston and Destiny.
Yes.
Yes, I did, but the crazy man who thought he was a trainer. I guess Maria knows about the crazy man that thought he was a
Yes.
trainer.
Yes.
Um,
But you know what I think? I mean, the shelters really don't. I mean, I know. They don't teach you how to really work with it. They teach you how to they really don't teach you. And
mhm.
that's why, like, I'm hoping maybe with that new page, Foster for Us, we'll put you on the page, and maybe we can help people who want. Okay, maybe they want to foster a dog that has issues, and we can teach them at different levels. I can foster a 13-year-old. I can foster this. So maybe they can become better fosters and keep themselves safe and their family safe and save more dogs.
Right. And that's a great point, because I'm actually thinking I wanted to do this up on Long Island when I was there, because I had talked to, I think you got me in touch with the town of Smithtown shelter,
Yeah.
and I wanted to go there to be the trainer to teach the staff.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually, there's a new shelter that just opened up down here in Lancaster County that I'm going to get my butt over to. And I want to start designing a program that hopefully can get to every shelter around the country.
And I
And the
wish,
proper way to,
I wish the shelters would all work together. They have
Mhm.
like a group of trainers who all work together because, and don't you think like from the minute a dog goes into the shelter, they should teach them how to decompress and then work with them to get them out because once
Right,
they're in there, it's hard to get them out.
right. And that's why the volunteers and these people do it out of the kindness of the hearts. And I'm never going to
Yeah.
knock what they do. As much as they want to let these dogs have that. Oh, we're going to run around. Like I remember when we saw Duke at Hempstead. They had this nice little play area, and one of the things that was that rope
Yeah.
above
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
and he would hang from. Okay, but
Like a
you're not.
lunatic.
But you're not. He had resource guarding issues when I first got him, and his resource guarding thing was the flower. My wife's plastic flower pots, which I still don't understand. Uh, um, so I want to, that's great for a period, but there was no structure involved in
Yeah.
or very little structure. I don't want to say no structure. And Duke needed a lot of structure, and that's what I worked on. He got walked a lot. He got told what to do 24 hours a day, 7 days a week when he was with me. And yes, he went to the house. Shame, shame. He went to one person's house. I take full responsibility. I should have known better. First time dog owner should not have had Duke. That was me. I'm bad. But the second gentleman, I think I got a lot more involved in it. And
Yeah.
we both fell in love with him.
Yeah.
And he's doing real good because the guy understands how strong breed dogs need to work.
Yeah, he believes in structure and training on a regular. He doesn't just it's not just when he's training with you, but he's training
Right.
on a daily
And,
basis.
and it's continuous. I tell people all the time, as good as my Zoe girl is here, I work with her constantly.
Yeah,
Every day we're reinforcing. Now where I am now, we walk a lot. I'm trying to find the comment from the young lady about the food aggression because I want to get her name right. Um, we walk a lot, and sometimes I do no structure,
mhm.
but at least once a day, I do that structured walk that I have set up on my YouTube channel for everybody in the world to see. It's free, guys. You know, to watch how a walk should look
Yeah,
to teach a dog. The walk is not about physical exercise. Good luck physically tiring out a dog. I tell people this all the time. I don't care if it's the min pin or a mastiff. It's hard to physically tire them out. So if you do something and you need a tired dog because a tired dog is a good dog, mentally tire them out. That's what the walk I set up is that structured walk. It's called on my YouTube channel "How to Leash Train a Dog" because I had to do it to make it Google friendly. Um, it's a good thing. Beth, I want to get to this because I know Michelle, you would agree that a 4-month-old dog who's food aggression should never have food aggression at this age of its life.
no,
But
yeah,
that's the type of dog that's going to get turned into a shelter very
that's not.
quickly.
Yeah, you got to work on this right
Right.
away. It's only going to
So
get worse.
how I work with food aggressive dogs is one. My question, Beth, if you're still watching, is, and we're going to get into a little bit of a training thing here, if that's okay with you, Michelle.
Yeah,
Um, is it food aggressive towards the human or towards another animal? That would be my first question whenever I deal with food aggression issues. Um, if it's towards the human, and people are going to think I'm absolutely out of my freaking mind here, don't feed the dog for 2 days. You become more relevant now because you're going to humans. Okay, so this sounds really cruel. I know it's a puppy, and I'm going to hear all this BS online. Don't feed the dog for 2 days. It's not going to starve to death. They don't starve to death that quickly. But now you're going to become more relevant with the food. And then you're going to have to take a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of patience. Also, resource guarding. Where did that comment go? Hold on. My thing is acting really weird today.
where did they get the dog from? I wonder.
Yeah,
Was it they buy it from a breeder?
so resource some toys. Still, take away the toys, first of all. But that's a good question, Michelle. Is it a breeder or is it a rescue dog, Beth? Um, But getting back to the first of all, take away the toys. Doesn't earn the privilege. It hasn't earned the privilege to have the toys. And here's, I think a lot of it's involved around this dog's excitement. I don't know this dog. He was from a breeder. I would definitely have a conversation with the breeder because if they're breeding properly, you don't have aggression issues. But here's the problem: most of the issues, food and toys, those are the big resource guarding issues in the world, is because they're overly excited to get their toy and to eat. Well, I believe in rewarding calm. I will not feed a dog that's excited. So what I'll do is, and everybody does the same thing, guys. Here's the routine. You get the food, the dog's come, sit. The dog sits. Okay. Put the food bowl down, dog takes off and gavoons the food down in 3 seconds. There's a difference between obedience and behavior. A dog sitting is an obedient dog. A dog that gavoons the food is not a behaved dog. So what I do, this is, I've never put my hand in the food bowl because I think that's stupid. But if I start to put the food bowl down, I won't put the food bowl down. If I see the dog staring at the food bowl with its head shaking and drool coming out of its mouth, I won't put the dog's mind's not what I need you to be yet. So what I'll do is I'll wait them out. And when I start seeing them look at me instead of this food bowl, oh, now all of a sudden I became relevant, not the food. I'm not a Pez dispenser. You know, so what I do is once they start looking at me, I'll start the process of putting the food bowl down on the floor or in the stand or whatever the heck it happens to be. If the dog starts getting excited, I pick it back up and I do this whole process. It could take forever. It could take hours. If I still have an issue, the next meal, literally, I will hand feed one piece of kibble at a time. And if they go into my hand too fast, I close my hand and say, nope, easy.
Yeah.
You have to be more, Beth, you have to be more relevant than the food. Right now, the food's more relevant than you, and that sucks. You're a
Yeah.
Pez dispenser. Michelle, you want to add something to that?
Well, I mean, well, it's kind of scary at 4 months old that it's, you know, you have to
Yeah,
wonder about
bad breathing.
bad breeding, but you can still, I mean, you're going to have to really work
Yeah,
with that to
yeah,
overcome it. And you can,
yep.
you know, anything, it's like anything can be.
And just on a side note, Beth, if you really need more clarification on this, where we have a little bit more time, shoot me a private message either on my Facebook page, my personal, my private, my personal, my business. If you send it through Michelle at Remember Me Rescue, I'll probably end up seeing it anyway. Or send the comment. You're watching on Facebook. I just don't know whose platform you're on. We can always set up a Zoom session for
Yeah.
anybody who needs that type of clarification because it's about understanding dog
Yeah.
psychology.
And this has nothing to do with the breed of the dog because I have a Papillon Chihuahua who will rip my hand off, you know, for, you know, if I went by his food, you
Hmm.
know, even what. So it has nothing to do with him being a pit bull, you know. That's not why I'm saying that, but you know, because he will grow to a big dog, obviously.
Well, we don't know
If
if
you,
you're pet buff, do we?
did she say pit mix?
No,
Didn't she say no?
no, she didn't say.
Oh, okay.
And you know what? I'm glad you segued with that. That's actually perfect because you notice I purposely don't ask breed. I don't care about the breed.
Yeah, yeah,
Because, guys, if we treat them animal dog, breed ain't that damn important.
yeah.
Don't worry about the breed. Um, a sheepadoodle. Oh, it's a designer dog. So you
Oh,
got a sheepdog. Is that, I guess a sheepadoodle is a sheepdog poodle?
so sheepdogs are herders too, right?
Yes. Sheepdogs are herders. Poodles are knuckleheads.
Yeah.
Um,
Poodles are very smart.
they're very, very intelligent, but they can be very nasty poodles. I've worked with some standard poodles that are, because again, they're cute, they're fluffy, and everybody's 70% old English sheepdog. So you got a high herding. You got to give this dog a
Yeah,
job. We definitely should
yeah,
set up a Zoom training session on this one.
yeah.
Um,
And have you been getting a lot of calls? So we've been getting a lot of calls about people giving up labradoodles
mhm.
because there's a lot of bad breeding, and that
There's a,
they're at young ages they're getting. They said they're getting aggressive,
yeah, it's all
and
about this,
yeah, you know, and they don't nip it in the bud when they're young,
right?
and they have kids, and then the kid gets nipped, and then you know,
Yeah, they're not that cute. They definitely I think breeders, especially in the United States, are all about the money. They have no problem doing incent breeding, as they call it, or whatever the real terminology is. And unfortunately, what I see happening with these designer doodles is they're going to start having really severe neurological disorders that no amount of training is going to help.
yeah,
And that's when we're going to have a lot of drugged up dogs or
yeah,
dogs being euthanized. And unfortunately, until the government, local governments, federal governments start cracking down on this animal abuse, because that's what it is,
yeah,
it's going to continue to happen, guys. And it's going to kill us. It break my heart when I hear about it. There's a whole line of Springer Spaniels that they
yeah.
tracked to one breeder that ended up having
Rage syndrome.
rage syndrome because he decided that he was going to breed brother and sister together, and
Yeah.
destroyed a line of dogs as far as I'm concerned.
I really think there needs to be. I mean, I hate regulation, but to say that, but there really needs to be regulation of the breeders where they have to have husbandry and genetic
Hmm.
classes so they understand all the interbreeding, all the breeding to like the Frenchies to make their faces flatter, or the
Hmm.
Pomskis. They inseminate. It's just
It's ridiculous what's going on out there in the world. I call them designer mutts because that's what they are to me.
yeah, you get that at the shelter. I mean, people are like, oh, I can't get it. It's like most of these dogs aren't purebreds. They're
Right.
mutts.
And to me, mutts make better dogs anyway.
Yeah.
Uh, the
Well, let
Heinz
me
57.
But I have to also mention, my big pet peeve, and this is number one: spay and neuter your dogs. Everybody wants to breed
Absolutely.
their dogs. Dogs don't die of old age anymore; they die of cancer. And if you
Hmm.
want to eliminate one type of cancer, it's spay and neuter. You
Yep.
know,
And the females, I think it eliminates the breast cancer.
pyometria, breast cancer. I mean, how many dogs have I rescued with breast
Oh,
cancer? I mean, this other Chihuahua, he's got a retained testicle, and the vet said he's got a mass on it, and it's cancer. So he's another one, and he's
right.
probably, I don't know if he's hospice or not. But fix your dogs. Men
Right.
take it personally. It's
No,
like
yeah,
we're not cutting your balls off. We're cutting the
right.
dogs.
Yeah.
And if it, and I'm sure you
Check
would,
your
you
ego
was
at the door.
I'm sure if you thought, okay, I could eliminate cancer by castrating myself, you would.
May not be a bad thing. Some people need to be castrated. That's besides the point. No, but please spay and neuter your dogs. It's real important, guys.
Yeah.
I had a black lab growing up that wasn't neutered. He lived to be longer than we ever thought he would. But he was one of the lucky ones. Back in the day, that wasn't a big thing. But now we're learning more and more. Male dogs
Mhm.
do get testicular
Testicular
cancer,
cancer, prostate
uh,
cancer, and they
prostate cancer.
mark,
Right.
they bad
And
habits.
also, it's a testosterone drive. And if you got a male dog that happens to have alpha
Yeah, tendencies.
tendencies, thank you. The English language sometimes is hard.
That's okay.
Um, tendencies, and they're not neutered, it can be a major problem. And if you're not a strong enough pack leader to deal with it, you're not going to be able to deal with it.
Yeah,
So why put for guys? I always say, especially the guys that think it's personal. As a man, I don't want to walk around with blue balls all day, so it's painful.
right. I say, how cruel is that? Leave the dog
Yeah,
alone. It's like,
yeah.
and don't get noodles for the dog. They don't really need it cosmetically to have fake
Right.
balls.
So Michelle, we're at almost that magic hour, so we're gonna wrap this up. Do you have any closing words you want to part to people who are still on, to let them know how they can help you? I know you have I put up your information before with your phone number. I do have Michelle's website here. It's hard to see it. It's remembermerescueny.org, I think.
Yeah, .org.
And there are links on there where you can donate. Uh,
And if
correct?
you Yes, and if you want to, we definitely need fosters. We need local fosters on Long Island. And I have a new page, and it says "Foster for Us." Remember Me, Rescue New York, and we're gonna have Leon on it and two other trainers, and we'll educate you so you feel like you can actually, you feel safe to foster any dog, and you know what you need to do. It's not
Absolutely.
like me guesswork. I know it's, sometimes I think, oh, it's just common sense, but yeah, but I've been bit many times. I've been through the ringer, so
Right.
I've learned a little bit.
Right. And being bit is never fun. But Michelle knows I always throw it out there. Anybody who's interested in fostering, Michelle can always give you my information. I'd be happy to set up something on Zoom just to go through the do's and the don'ts. Always watch the videos I have on my YouTube channel. We'll put the links on all the platforms that we're streaming live to tonight, so you guys have them. But
And people,
Michelle,
yeah,
go
and
ahead.
people also have to know, we have an application, because it's just like, you wouldn't send your kid off to anybody without checking out, the background of the person watching it. We feel the same way. We want to make sure, the people who will foster are, good people who, aren't going to hurt our dogs. And even if they go to another rescue, make sure that the rescue checks you out, and you don't want some rescue just handing you over a dog and not knowing if you can handle it or not, because that's dangerous for you as well as a dog.
And home inspections are a big part of what you do in your spare time.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do. We're not looking for a mansion. I'm just looking for a safe
Safety,
place.
right?
Yeah, and that you're not like, you don't have like 100 toilet seats in like one room and you can't walk. No hoarders.
Right. Matter of fact, like the gentleman that adopted Duke, we went there, we did the home inspection, and I picked out a couple of things that I wasn't
Yeah,
happy about, and he
yeah.
fixed them.
We fix them. Yes.
And that just our eye or Michelle's eyes are going to see things different than you would in your own property. And dogs are escape artists, and
Yeah.
certain breeds are even worse.
Yeah.
You get a Shiba Inu, I think
She, oh yeah,
they're,
Shebas.
they're
Yes,
notorious for escaping.
Shebas and Huskies. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Um,
I think we have to remember too that you're choosing to get a dog. They're not
mhm,
choosing you as an owner. So
right.
you want to be the best owner you can. Or best guardian, guess best parent. So make sure you have a safe environment.
And no, you're going to have spend some time working with it. And one of the things, one of the, there's an adoption fee that goes with most people that adopt dogs. I tell people all the time, you're planning on adopting a dog, make sure for at least the first year you have about $1,000 to $1,500 put aside
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
for vet care, for training, for whatever you may need.
and look, yeah, because look at the people with the dachshund. I mean, they bought a
Hmm.
dachshund. They probably paid $3,000 for the dachshund, and when
Hmm.
they went to get an estimate, the leg would have cost 3,000 to fix. So they were giving the dog. Dogs are expensive. Make sure you have insurance. Make sure you have some money in the bank because you
Yeah.
know it's
And
yeah.
can't hurt, even if you think your dog's savvy, reach out. Not It doesn't necessarily have to be me, guys. A reputable trainer. Talk to them before you get a dog. I've had a bunch of people call me before they got their first dog, just so I can help them set up for success.
Yeah, I'm learning. I've been doing this a long time, and I'm learning every day.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know everything.
No, the dogs teach me.
Yeah.
You know. So with that being said, guys, we're at the magic hour, a little over an hour. So we did good tonight, Michelle.
Okay.
And we got a lot of questions, a lot of feedback. Thank you for everybody for joining, Michelle. Thank you for doing the time. I'd love to do this again in the
Oh,
future. Um, and with that being said, guys, my favorite tagline is thank you for inviting me into your home this Wednesday evening. As always, stay healthy, stay safe, God bless, and remember, together we can help one dog and one family at a time. Have a great evening, guys. Michelle,
good.
stay there.
Thanks so much.